Cool. All right, we're live. We don't do an intro. We don't do anything like that. Welcome to the Godfall Universe podcast, if that's what we have to call it. This is Art Talk, and today we have a very special guest, a guy that we've been trying to get on for a while. Schedule's been weird, and I saw Nick here on the Lucid Comics Production podcast. I love that guy. I love those guys. And I really liked your appearance there. Like, oh, like lit a fire under me. I was like, I got to get Nick on here. So we reached out and made it happen. Today we welcome Nick Patch. What's up, dude?
Howdy, everyone. Good to be with you, Dan. Yeah, Lucid's a good guy. Sad what happened with his last campaign, but I know he's going to make it happen.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome. And I actually got to read Ghetto Dragon. He sent it to me. I recommend it. He's a good writer. It's something that I found that we could actually talk about. That's the thing, especially in comics today, especially indie comics. Sometimes you read something and be like, oof, how am I going to take an hour and a half and make this interesting, you know?
Yeah. I wish I got to read it. Maybe one day he'll let me read it. But yeah, behind the scenes afterwards, we talked a little bit story structure and stuff, and he wants to do something with me, talking more about that. But yeah, he gives off like the way he talks about writing and approaching Ghetto Dragon, for example, like he has something behind it. It's not, well, this happens and then this happens and then this like to quote South Park, the South Park creators, it's not a string of and thens. It's like but and therefore, and and he has a purpose behind it and somewhere that it's going, and it's interesting. But I didn't get to read it like you did. You lucky.
Well, yeah. Well, we had him on, and he wanted to be able to actually talk about it, and I thought that was a pretty cool idea. We've done that before with I think our first book, Apollyon. We sent it to people, and whether they read it or not, they sure were able to talk about it. So that's good. But it's always hard to tell. Yeah. Sometimes people BS, and you're like, I don't know if they read it, or maybe I'm a bad writer and they don't know what I said.
Maybe you just skimmed it, skimmed it on the bus.
They can only talk about the ads in it. I really like the Gillette section.
Oh yeah.
But let's talk about that real quick. You come from an unorthodox background, and it's really funny because I had Tony James on here a couple of weeks ago. Love Tony, great guy, but he came from a screenwriting and short film background as well, and that's kind of your region, right?
Yeah, that's kind of where I came from. Honestly, I you may have caught some of it on Lucid, but I started off with trying to do comics and failed and blamed everybody else but myself, and moved to a different medium, thought I'd do better and didn't, and then adjusted and became a better writer and a better director and so on and so forth, and thought, oh, I'll come back to comics. I didn't really give it a fair shake. That's my fault, not everyone else's fault. So that's why I'm here. And because Roy Beckwith, the comic I'm doing, is way too, no one would ever fund it in their right mind, like except HBO, but they're not going to do it without it being an existing IP anyway. So like, I may as well just do it in comics because I like the story and I want other people to like it. So.
Well, that's actually, I mean, I'm not speaking for the pros here. And I don't like this idea necessarily, but it's been proven time and time again that comics are a good medium to get an idea out to be picked up for like a show or something else.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you go, Kirkman, obviously, he's not only Walking Dead but now Invincible, and that seems to be doing well. I didn't watch season 2 or 3.
I didn't either.
I watched season 1. I liked it. I started reading the comics and got most of the way through it, but I don't know. So something about it, I feel like he didn't have like a super solid plan in his writing. I feel like that's the same with Walking Dead. But he has some cool stuff in there, like moral questions and things like that. About can you sacrifice people for the greater good? Can you do that, and should you? That kind of a thing. And yeah, so but I don't know. I don't want to crap on Kirkman because he's obviously doing way better than me. But
Nah, go for it. I'm all for it.
I mean, like I think he's okay, but I just feel like when you lack a plan and things just fall apart and then feel repetitive. I think people know that. Anyone who watched Walking Dead, like my stepdad fell off after like season 3. He's like, what is this? Why am I still watching this?
They should be dead by now.
There's not even zombies anymore. Yeah, they should be dead by now. But yeah, I really think that structure and planning is like, if you don't have that and you're just like, they call it pantsing. I know what you do.
Yeah.
So if I'm crapping on your process, pantsing, man, like you're not gonna, you're gonna run into some trouble, man. Whether you can handle it, like maybe your intellect is that high, like not you, but like whoever, as a writer, maybe you have that intellect and you can just kind of start and then find yourself down an awesome path that's entertaining and interesting, and find yourself in a good conclusion that's entertaining and meaningful. Maybe you can, but boy, it's hard. It's a lot easier when you plan it.
My process is I just write gibberish until my artists make it look good, and then it works.
Yeah, and that can work, but man, I'll tell you, and you're gonna do what you're gonna do, but I would just plan, like if you just write it and then say, you know what, I like that. Maybe I'll tweak this, like editing. Some people don't even edit their stuff. Like they won't even go. Like hopefully you do.
Clearly
If
they
you
don't.
and I'm crapping on the way you do it, huh?
I said clearly they don't.
Yeah, clearly some people don't even edit their stuff.
No, like,
But
Josh and
I
I,
think it's
this
important.
this isn't about our process. This podcast isn't. But Josh and I, we've been planning out our universe for about 10 years now. We're pretty
So you were
meticulous
just fucking
about
with
it.
me.
No, my writing process. I mean, it's
Yeah.
comics, so like I'll write the dialogue and the scenes and stuff, but I don't tell my artist what to do. I just feel like because he owns 50% of the company and we everything together. So I'm just like, Josh, just make it
Uh-huh.
look cool. Like here's the characters, what they're saying. Here's what I imagine them doing. Just do whatever you want.
Oh right, yeah. And see, I meant more like from like where you start
Yeah.
and then where the story's going. Yeah. I mean, I try not to be too controlling over my artist either. But
I no, I
yeah,
do.
no,
I believe that structure provides dynamism, if that makes sense. Like you don't want a fire
mhm.
without a hearth. You don't want electricity like without a transformer. Like you got to have some kind of order so you can have dynamism in it. You know.
Right. Yeah, I like the way that you the transformer. If you want to start off as a car and end up as like a humanoid figure, just use that like how you're telling a story. You want to start off in one spot where a character like Breaking Bad. You want to start off with Walter White and end with Heisenberg. If you don't understand like who they are in depth and every step of the process that transforms them into Heisenberg, you're not going to get it done. Just like the transformer, like you have to understand the pieces within the car that are going to change and transform into a transformer.
What
So
if you just start with a chick with a huge rack and then take her clothes off on the cover?
dude, you got it. Yeah, then it doesn't matter if your story's good, you're successful as far as Kickstarter is concerned. You're doing good, bro. You
That's
must have
transformative.
heard you must have heard my opinion on that.
I did.
Yeah.
That's kind of a running joke with me. It's like started like said I said something kind of like, "Hey, I don't write smut books," and it became like this 2 or 3 month cope stream debacle for people. And it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm just saying I don't make smut books. Like people are gonna make them. They make them since the beginning of time. I just don't make them.
Yeah. They're here's the thing is they need to justify to themselves doing it. So if someone doesn't like that and wouldn't do it themselves, then they have to say, "Oh, well that's because they're X, Y, and Z, It's not, because my preference differs from theirs. Maybe it's they have to be awful, and I'm awesome because I do I do what I want to do. I'm an artist or whatever cope they have. But
Yeah.
they could do what they want, obviously. Like you said, people have been doing it forever. People have been doing it successfully. And I don't know. That's not why I'm here. I'm not here to just make money. Like, if that's what you're in for, then yeah, do it. Like, that'll
Yeah,
win.
I
You'll
like
do
I
okay.
like I like creators like I don't know if you know him, Michael Ferraro. Like his stuff is really, really, really kind of punk looking, like very
Hmm.
neon colors, and he'll do like scantily clad women, but it's like it's not even like sexual if that makes sense. It's kind of like heavy metal, like back in the day, where it's like
I think I know who you're talking about. Doesn't he have a book that's live right now?
yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah. I love
yeah.
that guy. He's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But and that's the thing is like there's just multiple ways to do this kind of stuff, and there's ways to do even nudity, or if you want to call it smut, that's like cool with punk and artistic. That's not clearly a cash grab.
Oh yeah. I got in an argument with this lady. Well, someone else was in an argument who I knew, Webb from oh man, I've this is embarrassing because I know on Dreams Uncharted. And he was getting into an argument with her about if indie comics can go mainstream, X, Y, and Z. I don't even remember this lady's name, but he's like, if you want to just do a cash grab, go ahead and do your smut books, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, cash grab, like money out here, like who says I'm making money, blah, blah, blah. And then I went and researched her, and she had a Kickstarter that was like at 50K, and it was called Star Horse Revenge of the Sluts.
Star Wars?
Star Horse Revenge of the Sluts.
That's
like right out
that's
of
the joke name from Zack and
right.
Miri Make a Porno.
Yeah.
That's a Seth
So
Rogen joke.
yeah. So tell me you're doing a yeah, exactly.
How
Tell
do
me
you
you're
make
not
a
doing a
book
cash
all a
grab
Seth
now.
Rogen joke? Like
I know. Stole it. And I might be like it might be slightly different than that, but it's Star Wars Revenge of the Sluts or Return of I swear, Sluts is in there somewhere.
there are sluts
Yeah.
somewhere, I promise you.
I swear. I scrolled through
They're
the
like the
Kickstarter.
Ewoks.
Definitely Sluts. The Ewoks, Return of
They're
the
like
Sluts.
the Ewoks.
Yeah. Return of the Jugs or something. No, it was Sluts, but yeah, and she just was really huffing and puffing and mad about it. And it's like, you are cash grabbing though. And you did make 50K on a Kickstarter. That is just straight smut. Like there's no story there, I bet. Like maybe there is, but like doubt. Come on. You're banking off of the Star Wars IP first off, and then off of people's lizard brains and guys liking shapes. We like circles and whatever. Everyone, every guy likes circles, whether it's boobs or butt. But you're
What would be
banking on
so
that.
funny though? The only thing that would make it better is if like it was like a Dostoevsky novel or something, or like Melville.
Could you
It's like
imagine? It's
level, and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing! You're like weeping as you read Star Wars.
as you're reading Star Wars Revenge of the Sluts, you're like, this is changing my life. I've been such a bad person. I can do so much better. The world can be changed.
What's up, Cole? Love
Hey,
love to
how's
see
it
you,
going,
man.
man?
Cole's a great guy. That guy buys so many indie comics, and he's a smart dude. He's got great insight to story and character and philosophy. Actually, like, if you get a chance to talk to him, you should.
Yeah, he's shouted me out a bunch and commented. He's been in these shows. He's a great dude as far as I can tell. I haven't chatted with him yet, but I know he has a book coming out eventually, I think is what his bio says. Date on my book soon, sometimes in the future or something, he says. So hopefully that's soon. Cole can get to work in here.
So how did you get
you
into making indie films? Like, are you a cinematographer? Do you do like the camera work yourself, or you do the screenwriting? Got a buddy that you work with or something?
Well, I direct and write, but I guess the partner I have is a producer actor, and I've done some cinematography, but I like to not be the one doing that because there's a lot that needs to be done on a set, like you could imagine. So I need, as director, you have to make sure everything is adding up to the vision. You have to work with actors. You have to work with the sound guy. You have to work with the cinematographer. When you are the cinematographer, which I have done for a lot of scenes, just maybe our cinematographer has not been available, whatever it is. So like I'm doing it. Those do fine, but it's better when I can focus on, guiding the ship as a director. But yeah, so I got into it. Actually, that producer friend in high school. See, so this is like my early cycle. It was like, I'm going to try something. It's not going to work. And then I'm going to blame everyone but myself and I'm going to go do something else. Right.
I still do
And
that.
so you still do that.
That's
Yeah,
called
yeah.
Monday.
That's Monday. Good point. Yeah. So it was a feature film and I was still in high school. I was like, I'm going to write this and make it. And I'm going to be the biggest thing that ever happened to anything. And wrote it and was like getting to shoot it. We had actors, we had people audition, we were moving. And then my cinematographer at the time like pointed out to me like the script's not as good as you think it is. I'm like, nah, what are you talking about? And he kind of sat down with me about it. We're like, all right, we'll rewrite it, we'll make it better. And by the time we finished rewriting it, like everyone had kind of lost interest because it was just like people we knew from like Facebook. Like these weren't like serious people who were acting all the time or doing stuff all the time. Then, I kind of went into comics and failed there. And a guy he was going to have a role in that feature film. I saw him at the movie theater and in line, and he was in town. He had left for college and he was trying to become an actor. He was in acting school. And I was like, well, when are you leaving? He's like, next week. I'm like, well, I'll write something right now and we'll shoot it. It'll be a short film. And we did that. And we've done a lot of stuff since then. A lot of stuff that's better than that. But in hindsight, that was not as bad as I thought it was. But yeah, done a lot of stuff since then. It's been a while. He's in LA. We've tried to get some stuff going, but ultimately we just keep adding up to why are we doing short films? Like we need to do a feature film. And if we can't, then there's no point in doing anything. So we'll just wait till we can do that because short films don't go anywhere,
Oh, I know that. I've made a two with a buddy of mine. He's a wonderful cinematographer. We did two for our comic Apollyon 20XX. We're gonna do more, but yeah, there's no pie in the sky. You're gonna sell this to somebody kind of thing. Is you just make it because you like art. I get that completely.
Yeah, and just as an artist, though, you do want to be, I guess, set free from restriction. You need restriction. Like that's what makes art better a lot of the times. Like there's a million examples you can point to of this, where money constraints,
Star
budget
Wars.
constraint, get this, Star Wars, Star Wars.
Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. No,
The
like
lack of creativity is what made it good.
But
the
yeah, I think
on art is what made it good.
Yeah, they didn't have enough money to do something that was good and thoughtful, so they had to do this. Those constraints. But yeah, I think that kind of restriction, like it makes you have to come up with something more creative, a creative solution. Like I think Back to the Future, like they were gonna have like a nuke. The whole town was gonna get nuked. Everything was gonna get nuked, and that's what powered the DeLorean to get Marty back to the future. And the studio was like, we can't do that. Are you kidding me? That's way too much money. Like, what are you thinking? We've already spent a bunch of money on this. We can't do that. So then they came up with the now like iconic clock tower.
Like, no, we need more scenes of him making out with his mom. We
No.
can't have the nuclear blast.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. How weird. What a funny situation.
That's no, I 100% agree. I think constraints on art are ultimately what define it. And I know we can get into a whole philosophical discussion on the nature of all that, and I'm too tired for that tonight. But I think that's the thing. I think especially in a world we live in now where you get anything basically at the touch of a button, people kind of get analysis paralysis, and you were talking about pantsing versus planning earlier, and I understand that completely. Like I'm a planner for the most part, but I understand the pantsing process of like the energy that comes with that. You get into it, you get into a flow, and you want to keep going.
Hmm.
But having those like that plan is kind of the constraints. Like, okay, we're also going to get to A, B, C. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, so I have two things to
Stop
say about that. um, George R. R. Martin, famous pantser. Will he ever finish his story? We don't know. It's in the air. He may never finish. Um, and I think
Maybe
that
he doesn't have pants anymore.
maybe his pants are gone. He, he's in his pool now with no pants, and that's what he's doing instead of writing. But he may never
Well,
finish.
he doesn't have any
So
constraints anymore. I think that's probably why his
yeah,
pantsing is failing. He doesn't have any deadlines. He doesn't have anything. He's just a fat guy in a pool.
yeah. Honestly, like sorry, George. You could
Yeah,
stand to
he's
lose.
listening to this right now. He's in the chat.
Yeah, I know he is. He's always watching me. He's always watching me. He's a big fan. No, but and then the other thing I have to say about that is, um, you can't just do it when you feel like doing it. You have to do it when you don't feel like doing it. And so just because you can get into a space by just writing whatever's you're feeling like right then at that moment, it's like you have to be able to do it outside of that feeling. Motivation doesn't just hit you and then you have it. It's like whether or not you have that feeling of motivation, you have to do the thing you need to do. It's not just going to hit you, and maybe sometimes it does, but like you have to have that discipline. So
No, I think there's two ways with that, and it's the same thing. It's just two ways of saying it. When I was in music school, one of the things one of our main professors would say is that inspiration is for amateurs, like the pros go to work.
yeah,
And he was right about that. Like I didn't agree with him on a lot of stuff, especially on the nature of art, but he was absolutely right about that. And then when you look back through antiquity, I mean that's what the muse was. The muse was this thing that you had to court, and you had to um be disciplined and show up for. That's why it was a feminine ideal. It was like this. It was like courting a woman basically. Like she bestows on you greatness after you have discipline to show up and respect.
yeah. I mean, I think Eminem he's written about that a lot. Like, kind of, how the rap game is like he's in the same song. It's the whole song. Sounds like he's talking about a woman, and then it's like a twist in the last verse. He's been talking about the rap game this whole time. And
I don't know that song. I thought it was about him killing Kim for the 13th time.
no, you think he just, I've lived that fantasy enough times, you think, but so
Well, no,
yeah,
that's interesting, man. Like, so I'm not going to ask how old you are because I don't want you to dox you, but I assume you've got to be like what in your
oh,
like 20s.
yeah, I don't know, I don't care. I'm 28. Like, I don't know
Oh, cool.
yeah, I don't know what's someone
Well,
gonna do with
some
that,
people are
but
weird about it, but like I guess what I want to
yeah,
ask is like, how did at such a young age? You said in high school you wanted to be a director and all this stuff. Like, man, like what were you like? I'm really curious how you got into that kind of mindset because when I was 18, I didn't think I'd live to be 18. I was taking painkillers and like listening to the Smashing
and
Pumpkins.
hey, they're good though. So it's complicated story. I guess like I was listening to this podcast today about mental toughness,
Hmm.
and it's like about how much does it take to knock you down? How long do you stay down? And when you get back up, are you standing taller or standing shorter? Right?
Oh, that's a tub thumping by Chumbawamba.
What?
It's the song
No,
from the
no.
early 2000s. I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a bad joke, man. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's cool. Yeah. Yeah, some references are lost on me, in time, but some I get, I've been around, but yeah, so it's, I guess, like, things happen, like, to everyone, so, like, I'm not trying to say it was like, oh, something happened to me, more like, stuff happens to everyone, and things happen to me that made me feel like, well, something after this, like, why am I still here if it's not going to be
Mhm,
worth it? So I need to do something big. And at the
mhm.
time, it was like for myself, but in hindsight, it's like, um, I need to do something big in return, almost like. Um,
You're
but
talking about
yeah, so
purpose.
yeah, exactly. Like, I want to do something useful. Before, it was like, um, I want to get something out of this, and now it's more
Mhm.
like I want to be able to say that I stuck around and did something that was good for people, right? Um, and that's basically like my storytelling, like, journey. That's how it's kind of changed. Is it went from ego, like, serving myself, to serving other people. So, like, what is a story and how can it do that, right? Um,
See,
and
now
how
we're
can it
talking, man. That's what I'm
affect
interested in.
change? Yeah.
That's what I knew. That's what I knew I was
Yeah.
picking up on from your last interview, and looking at your campaign, which I'll pull up in just a minute, of course, so you can promote it. But you don't write something
Yeah.
like
Cool.
Roy Beckwith and the Cursed Continent without some kind of greater scope of vision than the average writer has. Because when I'm looking at your work, I'm seeing like that you are able to put yourself in the mindset of someone who lived before you and understand kind of a mystification of the world anymore.
There was just a little bit of roboting, and that might have been my internet. Can you just, the last couple words there? I didn't get.
Is lucid.
Yeah.
Make understand people who action of the world that they had before, like current now. Illusion.
Um. Uh. I was trying to make out what you were saying. For some reason, the internet's just going wonk. I exited all my tabs. I'm hoping that it's me and that it's fixed. Am I coming through good?
Can you hear me?
I oh boy, how embarrassing!
Hey,
I
can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
It's just like robotic. So I wonder if it. Yo, that was nice. That sounded clean. Um. Yeah. To As long as I'm
Okay.
coming through clean, then I'll go ahead.
Yeah, you're.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Um. So I think I got most of what you were asking, and yeah, it's really weird to be able to do research and wonder what the world used to be like and how that can relate to now. And I think that one of the, like, people are people. That doesn't change. Like, times change, technology changes, people don't change. And people have, and when I say people don't change, like, people can change for the better. Like, they can change themselves, but like, what people are at their base, like, that doesn't change really. Um, and uh, the story of redemption for Roy, who was a cavalry veteran who did a lot of things he regrets that he thought were maybe for good things at the time. Um, and then wanting to change and do better, but at first just doubles down and, you know, does, just keeps doing bad things, and maybe turns to vice to kind of forget about that and numb it, which is kind of like, um, funny, I didn't think of this until just now. Uh, I keep thinking the word departed, unforgiven,
Yeah.
kind of like, um, but I don't know. Hopefully, I started answering your question. Maybe you could clarify it now that you're crystal clear now.
Yeah, no, you've answered it very well. What I was saying is I could tell from your talk with Lucid that you, and looking at your work and the phrasings and the way you write, that you
Mhm.
possess the ability to look at people in history who thought differently than us, and you could put on their perspective, as particularly the mystification of the world they possessed, as opposed to like the more cynical time we live in now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, yeah, you just answered that beautifully.
Cool. Yeah. I think you came through pretty robotic, but I was able to pick up those bits and pieces and fill in the blanks, I suppose.
Yeah. But no, that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy when I see in stories. Like I try not to have like a particular preference or particular genre. I don't,
Mhm.
but what I really like to see in an artist, and this is how I determine if they're an artist in my view, is if they are able to see beyond themselves and see beyond like our current situation. Because I think all of that's I think what we've been talking about is all tied together. I think the cynical cash grab and over pornification of our culture is tied in with a worldview of not being able to see how other people see and how they used to see and understand that there is a world outside of you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah, this story is a long time coming, but it's it's not easy to like understand how other people think unless you like really understand and have looked at yourself and the way you think and like wondered, am I thinking right? Kind of have
But
to
no,
do that.
that's a big important question though that like that doesn't get asked a lot, I don't think. And like I think that's the beginning of wisdom, to like quote a proverb, is like that idea of am I thinking right? Because that means first of all, am I thinking my thoughts? Am I thinking thoughts that are mine, or am I thinking thoughts that aren't mine? Or are mine
Right.
good or bad? And then you have to define you have to define what is right. You have to define what is good and what is bad. And then you've got like a whole you're chasing a question for forever. And like I think that is mainly what is missing in art today, if I may be so bold as to say that.
No, I actually agree. I love like the moral questions, and I think that the Western genre, even though that's not necessarily why I went there, is like ripe for that, for moral questions, because it's not devoid of government, but it's very limited, and technology is very limited, and they're not huge populations that you're dealing with. So like these moral questions can really take front and center. And with what you said about genre earlier, I agree with you. Like, I don't care what genre it is. People who are like genre, like, oh, I just love anything about vampires or whatever genre. Um, maybe vampires is a subgenre, but um, I don't understand that, because there's good and bad stuff in every genre, and the good stuff has something underneath it that is not just the genre. You can hang the genre on it, obviously, but like Star Trek isn't sci-fi, and that's why it's good. It's the same, same with Star Wars. It's like there were plenty of awful sci-fi shows back then. Um, around the same time, trying to bank on like, oh, Star Trek like actually built something from the ground up that became successful because they put the work in and the understanding and had like knowledge of how to tell stories and how characters, like how people operate, and they can kind of put characters in situations that like um, push their worldviews and maybe make them make some bad, like not bad, hard decisions, um, and they knew how to do that. And then all of a sudden, like a bunch of other people thought, man, we should just bank on that and we'll do a sci-fi. They made it popular. Ours doesn't have to be good. The same thing happened with the slasher genre, Halloween, and then Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is vacuous as far as I'm concerned, but like Halloween and Black Christmas like they actually have something to them, something underneath them. And then Friday the 13th, and hundreds and hundreds of slasher films came after that and banked on it. But anyway, I don't want to go off too long.
No, like that's God, I need to pat myself on the back. I keep finding really good guests of people that I would love to have like a 4-hour talk with about the tangents because
Yeah.
that's I love that. That's absolutely true. It's like going back to what you just said in a row, trying to answer it with you. I think westerns are important because they're the latest mystical, like tall tale time we have in America. Like there are samurai, cowboys are.
Yeah,
Like
basically. That's a good way of putting it.
they're the last time we could have folk. There are only folklore basically anymore.
That's interesting. It's a really interesting way to put it. And it
Well,
reminds me of Tolkien and how he was seeking to kind of unify Europe under a mythology again because they had been so scattered, and no one had kind of a shared mythology anymore. And he kind of united them in something that was really obviously amazing. Nothing can be said about Lord of the Rings that hasn't been said probably. But yeah, that just reminds me of that, and it makes me wonder if I'm living up to that in this genre. But
well, no, that's a good point to like add to it, man. Is like, yeah, like the cowboy is like the American knight, the American samurai. That is our folklore, and I think that's why it's interesting, and I think that's why, cause like that's what I don't have people on whose books I don't like, quite frankly, because I don't want to lie for 2 hours. Your book looks great from the start because what it did to me, first of all, the art looks great. The summary you've written, I can tell you can write because I've read some summaries and they're trash, just grammatically. But
grammatically, or that just
yeah,
cite something else that you probably like and say this is like that.
yeah.
Yeah, which you can
Well,
do, but don't make
you
that the only thing you do.
you start with again a non historicized view of events. Like the title is "And the Cursed Continent." You only get that idea of the cursed continent if you're putting yourself in the shoes of someone there at the time. Like, because we don't consider it a cursed continent anymore.
Oh yeah, they
It's
fixed
a
it.
manifest destiny, baby.
Yeah, they fixed it, man. And now
But
we're here reaping the benefits, and a lot of people don't appreciate it. It's on a small tangent.
there's one line in particular. I'm gonna go through all this, but there's one line in particular here where you were discussing the witch, and that's what really stood out to me and sold me on it. And what was the term you used? It was about how
Twisted
the
victim,
witch.
probably.
It was how the witch wasn't buried correctly or wasn't unconsecrated grave.
Yeah.
That term alone sold me on this book.
Really?
Yes, because
Cool.
that is something that the modern writer would not write, because that evokes all kinds of religious and folklorish ideas that are cut off from our modern world. Like
That's really
that is a
interesting.
it's a very powerful phrase, unconsecrated grave. When would that ever be used in today's language?
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting way of putting it. It's just a fact of the
You did
story.
it.
But yeah. Yeah, I did it. But yeah, it's just a fact of the story. But it's interesting that sold you on it. It's not to go too into her history, but I think I went into it a little bit on an X post, so it's not too big of a thing. But her entire tribe was betrayed and killed by some people. And so she wasn't buried. She didn't have a burial. But the caves kind of collapsed and everything. But anyway, so yeah, unconsecrated, and you're right. I did another post as well. If you're wondering about like kind of religious undertones or whatever, and I think that like religion, obviously specifically, like what else got these people through it? You know what I mean? It's like you'd have zero hope, and you would just give in to the like the desolate land that is
but but
the
but of
cursed
course
continent.
that would seem obvious, as and you're saying it because anyone who picked up a history book would know that. But an average modern writer would have taken more of like a cynical Joss Whedon style to it and would have made it so that sarcasm got them through it.
Hmm.
You see
It's
what I'm
interesting.
saying?
What's funny about that is I actually really like Joss Whedon as a writer.
Yeah, I'm not
So,
ripping. I'm not trying to rip him that hard. I
yeah,
like
yeah.
Buffy.
Oh, I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We could do a whole podcast on that. I've seen it many, 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 many times over and over. But sometimes I'm like, man, that was a good final episode. It's too bad it's over. Good thing I can start it over. Episode
Grab
1,
another bag
baby.
of chips.
Yeah. But yeah, I love it. Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you what. So if you want to talk about how that happened for me, is I was doing character cores, and I think that came from somewhere, and other people use it. I don't know exactly. Mine's a little different because I feel like a lot of writing advice is anamorphous and like not actionable, and so I've taken some stuff and made it actionable. So the character cores I used for a long time were um, trauma, and I'm talking real trauma. Like people say, "Oh man, you
Mhm.
traumatized me just now when you said that X, Y, and whatever." When you said words, it's like that's a little different. Like I'm talking like actual trauma, which people like who've like settled this, like because I'm in the Midwest. The people who settled this land, boy, did they have trauma. And I'm in Utah. Like the pioneers had trauma. Like if you want to know trauma, look at what the
Mhm.
pioneers did. And I'm not saying like I'm not shilling for the Mormon religion, but like they went through some stuff, dude. They went
Yeah.
through hard times. Like they really believed in what they were doing, and they had to. But anyway, so trauma brings up fear, which you could say like just fear of repetition of that trauma. Um, and then you have lie, basically an answer of how to avoid that question,
Mhm.
avoid that fear. Sorry. Um, and you'll start off with a lie, and then eventually the character, if they go through a positive arc, will figure out that they believe a falsehood, and normally that's because they failed, right? Which isn't that interesting? Some stuff I've talked about myself failing and wondering, well, that's not my fault. None of it's my fault. Like that's a lie, right? There's a lot of stuff is under your control. If anyone's out there listening and wondering, man, why is this happening to me? It's like, man, you have a lot more control than you think, and there's hope in that, not despair. But anyway, so trauma leads to fear, leads to a question of how to avoid the repetition of the trauma, and then you get a lie. And where does the lie come from? Like you could say, like that comes from a demon. If you're looking into theology, it's a demon that tells you a lie. And then for the longest time, that's all I had: trauma, fear, question, lie. And it's only till recently, I think this is actually the first project that I've fully written where now it's not just fear, it's hope. And that has its own question. So it's like, how do I avoid this thing? So like, just picture loss. So this is what happened in Roy Beckwith. This is themes. If loss is your trauma, then loss is your fear, but your hope is love, connection, whatever, however you want to put it. But if you forget about hope and you focus on fear, which is what I did in my own writing, then you only have half of the picture, and you're going to fall into a hole, because you can't see everything, which is like the whole worldview thing. You have to have an accurate worldview, or you're going to fall into a pit or get bit by a snake. So hope is like, you need that. And that's like one of the big things with this series that's different from anything I've written prior, is like hope isn't absent. hope is absent in all my other stuff, and it's all my other stuff is cynical. But I've come to this through story structure. Like I actually realized that, and I'm talking a lot, but I'll try and cap it off. I actually realized that stories fight demons if you make them fight demons. If you structure it right, then they fight demons. And that led me to like actually believing religion and Christianity, which not trying to, hey, I'm Christian, come, I promise, guys, you agree with me, come buy my comic. Like, this is just like genuine, like, that brought me to it. Story structure brought me to God. And it's really crazy that it did that. And that's why, like, I find storytelling so important, is like, you can actually help people, because people are more complicated than just like, oh, that's like, people like, that's a leftist over there, like, or whatever it is, right? Or that's a racist, whatever it is. Either way, it's like, you can't just label them that. There's something going on underneath, like, and you could help them if you knew how to do it, and if you would take the time and approach it right, and not approach it from a place of like labeling and disdain, and like, you know what I mean? And it happens on both sides. Oh no. He's gone. I went on too long. Too long of a diatribe. Are we still live even? I'm seeing if we are live. We are live. Looks like his internet must have given out. Darn Dan's internet. Maybe the roboting was not me. Oh no. Oh no. I don't know. If anyone's here, I'm sorry about my long diatribe and about it only being me now. But it looks like we're live. His internet must have given out. I'm messaging him right now. But yeah, story structure, weird thing. Let's recover from this. There's.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. You were gone. I was like, do I have to
Yeah,
carry
can you
this
hear
by
me?
myself? Like I was. Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me? I was
Okay.
like, I was
Yeah.
worried.
Sorry, my
Yeah,
internet's
it's like,
just being a pain.
yeah, it's
You're
cool.
like, this is mine now.
I was like, oh dang! I started talking about like some stuff, and now he's gone. Did he leave on purpose? It's cool. It's cool.
Oh no, I'm a Christian as well. I loved your phrase. Stories fight demons. I mean, that's the logos. That is narrative. That is
Mm-hmm.
that's almost
Yep.
you can almost argue that is sovereignty itself, the unfolding of time, and the apocalypse, the eschaton is that there is a story that unfolds and that good ultimately wins.
There's that just makes me think of the way that Roy Beckwith is structured. Is it's a uh, octahedral tessellation, which you probably are like, what? But it's geometric form. Basically, though, all around Roy, like things add up to uh, good and evil are balanced, and so the master is the tipping point. He's the one who can
Mm.
choose, right? Um, I think that's actually a good way to frame life. Like, if you believe that you're the tipping point, if you're the last vote, like just Squid Game, if you're the last vote and it's half and half, 50-50, boy, your vote really matters. Good way of looking at life, like good or bad, like people will go and the devil will tell you, like, it's not going to change anything. Everyone's all, you know what I mean? Like, you're just a drop in the ocean. It's like, it's not a good way of looking at it. It's like more like you're the last feather that is going to go on one side of this scale and make and decide the fate of, like, the war, I guess, the between good and evil.
Oh,
That's a
I
better way
think
of
that's
looking
absolutely true, especially at least and especially for your own soul, your own story.
at it. Hmm.
I think that's free will. I think that's agency, but I think that then compounds to those around you and those around them, and it compounds eventually to the world. Like I think um, the greatest thing anyone could probably do is to fight nihilism, which is nothing, and that nothing matters, is to start thinking that everything matters.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's 100%, and everything does matter. It's just like, the answer to, like, say, I don't know, say you fell into a hole. You're walking in the woods, you fall in a hole. It's like, some people would think, man, I'm afraid all the time now of falling in a hole. Maybe the answer is, like, just keep my eyes closed and then I won't be afraid of what's in front of me. It's like, wait a second. No, you should be aware, right? Every little thing
Mm-hmm.
matters now. Not nothing matters. I'm gonna fall in a hole anyway. It's more like, no, like, pay attention to everything and you'll never fall in a hole again. So it's kind of the same thing.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it's also that idea I fell in a hole, so I'm not gonna ever go walk again. When it's like,
yeah,
no, you might fall in a lot of holes, but you won't fall into that same kind of hole. You might fall into a different hole, and then you'll learn not to do that again. And then it's the idea of you're accepting the challenge, and that's what courage is, to go do something even though you're afraid.
yeah, and that's courage. Um, you could say courageous, but I really think, like, that's just like what a hopeful person does. Someone who has a good balance between fear and hope. That's courage.
I
You know,
agree. I don't know if you can be a hopeful person without being a courageous person.
right? I mean, you could have no fear at all, and, like, that's
Mhm.
just stupid, right? That people say that's just stupid. Um, you know, we have fear for a reason, and we have hope for a reason. But you can be lied to on either front, right? It's like, how do I get this thing that I desire? It's like, well, I could just take it, you know what I mean? Take it from whoever has it. It's like that's not a good answer. Um, so some people like to say, um, you just need hope, and I think Star Wars was like this, um, dark and light side, and I think it's more nuanced than that. It's like, fear is bad, and you shouldn't have it. It's like, what? Really, George? Come on, think about that. 5 seconds. That doesn't sound good to me. I think you need both. And if you have a good balance, then you're a courageous person and you're gonna walk the path, right?
That's a good way to put it. And God, like this conversation to me is already more interesting than most indie comics.
Well,
It's just
I'm
it's
doing it for a reason. I'm not just it's cool to be doing comic books. It's like, I mean, yeah, it
since
is,
when?
but,
Since when has it ever been cool?
well, I mean, I think it feels cool to the people who
Yeah,
want to do it. Or cash grab. I
yeah.
think a lot of people out there are grifters, and when I say that, I mean, I'm not pointing anyone out, but, like, they weren't into comics. Maybe they had tertiary knowledge or something, but these semi-attractive older women. They're like, wow, man, I should have done something with my life and had kids or something. It's too late now. What am I going to do? I have no retirement, no one to take care of me when I get older. Well, I don't know. There's a bunch of these nerds over here willing to give me money if I stream with my cleavage, and say that I like comic books, right? And then like other people bring those people in to sell their comic books, and then now everyone's making money off of, you could say, comic book nerds who are, you could say, like, not vulnerable, but like, you know, obviously if they're you know, if they're buying all those boob books on Kickstarter, like their mind's a little vulnerable, like I would say. So like they're taking advantage of people in there. It's the porn industry as a whole too. It's like you're taking people who are like they're introverted, they're afraid of interacting with people. Say nowadays they're afraid of being called sexist for saying a girl's pretty, you know, in public.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so they're not going to go do that, watch porn instead, and then porn that porn just baits them to double down on that behavior. And it's like, man, these people really don't care. They I wouldn't call them demons. I have a distinction. Demons are spiritual creatures and they talk to you in your thoughts, but monsters are people who have been overtaken by demons, right?
Oh, man, that's a really, really, really interesting point.
Yeah, it makes me mad when people like Demon Slayer or even Buffy, which I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it's like these demons are just like physical, and I don't like that. I like the way it started, where it was like a vampire, a person with a demon that set up shop inside of them. That's what I for that. I think it's more accurate. And then obviously a vampire is a monster, but there's a demon inside, and the person is gone. Yeah. So a lot of this. I'm glad you're interested in this stuff because this is the stuff I want to talk about all the time. And
yeah, me too.
Weird to get into it sometimes. So cool.
No, and maybe we'll do it. Maybe do it later. Josh and I are actually trying to figure out a way to set up a physical studio where we could do like 6 to 8 hour sessions like this, and then break it up like an hour, 2 hour, like videos to post later or something. And if we did that, we'd have people stream in and all that kind of stuff. Or if we could afford it, we would fly people out to come talk and do the same thing. And
yeah, that'd be
but
cool.
no, I think, yeah, I mean, of course, like that's what I'd want people like yourself on it. Like I think that, to me, like that's the only reason we started this podcast, wasn't to like promote our book or anything. It was like, look, like indie comics in particular, YouTube in general, but indie comics just seems so lame. Like I'm tired of talking about the same stuff. I want to talk about interesting stuff with people. And
yeah, I get sick of the
like,
drama, and I'm new. Like I'm brand new. Like I was not on Twitter. I was not, for my age. So like where I grew up, like we grew up with technology. Like as technology was growing up, and then it's just stopped dead. I don't know if you noticed, but it stopped dead for like 10 years. It's, you know, it's just not gone anywhere. But I kind of grew up with it, and I didn't like social media. And so I just said, I'm gone. I'm not doing any of it. So a lot of the people on Twitter who have been here for a while, they're in all sorts of drama I hardly understand. And I'm just sick of it. I don't like it. I'm here to do something different. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to drama farm. I'm not here to, and some people have legit grievances, but like, that's not what I'm here for, man. Like, I don't care. I'm here to, like, story structure is important, and it brought me to God legitly, and so it's important, and it can do that to other people. They don't even have to understand the structure. They just need to if you do it right, they just need to intake the content. And I'm not trying to like preach to people. That's not how it gets done. You know, it's, you show them both sides honestly, right? And then they pick. That's it, right? So but it's really complicated, the structure I use. I won't get into it, but it's really complicated.
you should do a video or a Substack on it, because it sounds awesome.
I did some did a stream on it, X, and kind of explained it. It's like the Star of David, like the base for it, and I'm like, I know what it looks like.
You're gonna get some gripers in there then.
I might, yeah, they'll get mad. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You can't be doing that. Israel's bad. I'm sorry, dude. It's a structure.
Oy vey.
Everyone's welcome here. All right. But yeah, so yeah, it's really complicated, but basically what that's about is like to have 6 different character cores that all complement each other so that you can see different sides. Like this person believes this lie and this person believes this truth about fear and hope, and it just balances each other out, gives you a complete picture, complete view of the theme. People misunderstand theme. I don't know if you noticed, but people think theme is like like oh, this one has themes of politics, or like it's this like vague ass thing. It's like you're not getting what theme is, guys. Theme is more complicated than just like the subject matter. That's subject matter and theme are different things. So
yeah, theme is examined.
Yeah, people think, people use theme too as a word like you just don't understand cinema. You don't understand the themes, and they use it to apologize for The Last Jedi. It's like those themes weren't even executed well. So, or Sinners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I
didn't either.
I looked at some stuff on it. I heard the ending wasn't very great. But yeah, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of new stuff. I'm just so busy. You probably understand that.
Yeah, I got 2 kids. I don't watch any new things. The last film I saw in theaters was when it was last year. It was the re-release of the end of Evangelion, because I'm a big Evangelion fan. And that was it. And I'm never going to see anything in theaters that's better than that anyway. So
yeah. I mean, I guess the last thing I saw in theaters was, was it Guardians 3? Regrettably. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I try to explain it to people. They're like, you just think everything new sucks. I'm like, no.
God, it just does.
Well, I mean, like, there's some good new stuff, It's like they're few and far between. Yeah. But it's like, no, that's not my lens. When did it come out? Last year. Oh, it sucks. Then I'm not even gonna look at it.
I really like that movie Tar with Kate Blanchett. I love that movie.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
You should. It's almost Kubrick-esque.
Okay, that's interesting. I like Kubrick. He has a lot of pacing and things that he kind of, not that he inspired me, but I realized that he did a lot of the stuff that I thought was super groundbreaking that no one had ever done before that I was doing.
Yeah.
Turns out he was doing it. But like just shot patterns, like basically like making shots in film into like poetry. Things rhyme in a certain pattern and rhythm. And I thought I was, breaking ground. Turns out, there's a quote from Rick and Morty that's like, oh, hey, you discovered you discovered time travel or something, just whatever, portal travel, just to realize you're the last guy to invent portal travel. And that just, that seemed like
are you on Instagram at all?
I have one. I don't use it, but if you want it, you could hit me up on there.
I will, and I'll share you our friend is a photographer. He does all of the photography work that we do for our peripheral stuff, like our writings and stuff. But he's a cinematographer as well. But I'll get you his link. He's a super cool guy. His name's Colin, but he's a huge film buff as well. I think you guys would hit it off. I'll talk to him, like, if you're up with it. Like, I'll just give him, like, send you a DM or something, because he's always looking for people to talk this kind of stuff with.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I trying to interact with more people.
It's hard to do, man.
It is. I mean, I like from probably like what you've heard, like spent a lot of time avoiding connection, right?
Yeah.
Um, only to find out that's not a good idea. So I think everyone needs to know that, and I think you don't just hear that from someone and go, "Oh yeah, that's probably true." It's like you have experience, like to really bring you there and understand that,
Hmm.
and that's like what Roy Beckwith is trying to do. It's like trust, betrayal, and loss, and then the opposites of those are love and trust, right? So like,
Well, with that, let's transition into campaign mode, and I'll use this as a
that'll
buffer.
never happen. I
Tarot to
hate selling
Tarot to
stuff.
Square says my boyfriend's testicles were hacked off in a nude machete juggling contest recently. Should I marry him after he wakes up from his coma, or take lesbian lessons from his tranny sister?
Hmm. You know, that's a
Both.
really good question. I mean, no, that's a really good question. Can you bring it back up? Because I need to really think about it. Should I marry him after he wakes up from his coma, or take lesbian lessons from his training sister?
You should do both.
Man, I mean, I think you're not married. So if you were married, I'd say you're stuck with him. But where you're not yet, I guess up to your discretion.
Let's get into this. I know the shilling part is the harder part, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna play this. I cannot guarantee the sound will play. I've had trouble with Restream doing that. If it doesn't,
Mhm.
I apologize. Everyone should go to this and back it first of all. Roy Beckwith and the Cursed Continent, 64 pages. It's awesome. You can tell by the
Well,
way
let's
that
just
Nick here.
correct that. 64 issues.
Oh, 64 issues.
Yeah. This is
Holy
only issue
crap.
one.
First of all, how did I
It's a
read that
plan. It's a
wrong?
long plan.
And second,
I don't know.
wow, that's awesome. So how many
Some
pages
people
is it?
call it ambitious. Some people call it stupid. But yeah, they're 28-page issues, 64 of them.
And everyone can read the
And
first 7 pages here, which are great, by the
yeah,
way.
well, thank you. I mean, yeah, I wrote it, but it looks great, and that's all due to Jarrett and Fabi. Fantastic team. Jarrett line work, Fabi colors, Fabi Marquez. Yeah, she's fantastic. She's a dual citizen between here and Brazil, but
For now.
she stays in Brazil most of the time. For now, huh? Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I had to slip that in there.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, anyway, she came to the U.S. for some reason recently. I don't know if I'm doxing her or not. I don't know if it's public that she's where she
Yeah,
is,
I'm sure ICE is watching this right now.
no, no, she's here legally, but she had to pay. I guess there's a new thing that you have to pay $50 to enter the country as a fee, even if you're a dual citizen. So,
Mm,
yeah, I didn't know about that, but anyway,
this is a
but
great
she's
cover.
fantastic. She's a great colorist. She puts the work in. But yeah, and these covers you're seeing are by artists that,
Yeah, these are all
um,
great.
yeah, that one's Carrie Nord right there from Conan and
What
Exo
is it?
Manowar.
What is it with like Spanish artists? Like you were talking about your colorist, that
Mhm.
they're awesome. They're always getting work. Like what's
Yeah,
in the water down there?
yeah. I think one of the biggest ones is Puerto Rican,
Yeah,
and yeah. I don't know what it is, man. I think
maybe growing up on anime.
yeah. Well, I think that and maybe it's me assuming things, but I think that America is a great country, and I think that a lot of other countries are not as great. And sorry, guys, if that's a dog whistle or something,
Hey, but
but
we got Van Halen. Like, what else are we supposed to
yeah,
say? Like, of
exactly.
course we're awesome.
Come on, we have Scorsese's over here.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, so I think that it's like the same with rappers. Like, man, how come every good rapper is, you know, can I say that? But like from the hood, I guess you could say. It's like, well, man, they got in their eyes, they got rapping or they got nothing and they're gone. Like the way they see it. And I don't know if that's true, but like if you thought I'm either gonna die and be nothing or I'm gonna make it in rap, you're probably gonna work really, really hard at making it in rap.
I'd
And I
probably
think a
just
lot,
die.
yeah, probably just die. But I
I
think a
I
lot,
would.
yeah, um, a lot of people from other countries, I think it's kind of similar. It's
Yeah.
like, man, this sucks here. I'm either gonna make it as an artist or that's it for me. Like, what? Why even like it? You know what I mean? And not to say that's how bad Brazil is. I don't know. I haven't been there. And but you know, I do think America's awesome. And
No,
so,
but that ties in with your idea though of the cursed continent and this the way like the pilgrims and the frontiersmen were. It
mhm.
was we either get our buggy or our across the river here with our oxen, or our whole family's screwed, and we're still gonna
Yeah,
die from dysentery.
yeah. If I don't get this cabin and this farm built, like we're gonna run out of rations in like 6 days. Like like
Mhm.
we really need to get this going. And people had to work so hard back then to this. And people say, oh, we came in and we stole it. It's like, dude, they weren't doing much with it, most of them. Like, just saying, they really weren't. I've looked into, like, I did so much research for this series. It's like, dude, they weren't doing much with it. And there were some good tribes that were
Yeah.
nice. Like Kit Carson, a famous mountain man, like he grew up around Native Americans and like on the trail and stuff like that. He one of the biggest things that he stresses is like you can't just say those are Indians, you know,
Mhm.
that's an Indian, stay away from them, or oh maybe they're friendly, they're an Indian. It's like different tribes were different, and some tribes were legit, they were cannibals, and
Yep.
some
Well, some are
tribes were
awful.
really nice, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is it was literally a continent basically of just hundreds, if not thousands, of different little nations. But
Oh yeah,
we call them tribes, but that's what they were. It's like they didn't see themselves as one people. They didn't say, "Oh, we're all Indians and you're the
yeah.
Europeans." It's like
They were
no, like,
not united by any means.
and I think
By any
most of the
means.
names came from other tribes. Like I think like Comanche means like the people who fight us or
Well,
something like that.
yeah, that's actually the Yazito witch.
Yeah.
I made that tribe up, but they live in the middle of the Mojave, and they are cave dwellers, and they were named the Small One, which is what Yazito roughly translates to in Quechan, which the Small One, because they're a small tribe. They kind of stayed to themselves, stayed out of tribal disputes, and just kind of hid in their caves. So it's funny that you say that because yeah, they named each other.
Yeah.
It's like when you're in high school, you don't give yourself a nickname. Everyone else gets your nickname. You
And
know
they're
what I
not
mean?
flattering.
Yeah. They're like, we want you to call us the Great Tribe.
They're like, nah,
They're
you're the
like,
small one.
nah, you're the small ones. Yeah.
Maybe if you got in some fights sometimes, well, you would be great.
Yeah, huh. But yeah, so that's interesting you bring that up. I actually didn't know that the Comanche. That's what the
Yeah,
name of the Comanche
I'm
were.
pretty sure it was the Comanche. It's like it's one of those tribes that were clearly like scalping people all the time.
Oh, they were awful. Yeah. Well, they were like small people. They were like tiny people, and so they were just messed up all the time. Like from by the other tribes, they were always messing them up. And so
Hmm.
then when the horses came over, and everyone else was like, we're gonna eat these. They were like, no, we're gonna ride these. We're small. We're horse jockeys, dude. We can do this. And they started messing everybody else up. So it's just this like revenge over generations that they decided to take on the other tribes. Like they
Oh
weren't
yeah,
super
that's what
successful prior to the horse.
was it like that? Like the Aztecs or whatever. It's like the colonists toppled them with like a small army because they partnered with all the tribes that hated them.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, easy to do that.
All right,
I
well,
mean, it's the kind of the same we did, right? With we're like, hey, France, you don't like Britain either, right? Come
Yeah.
help us out.
No one likes Germany right now, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Same. Yeah.
let's get into this. Let me play it. Like I said, if the sound
Oh yeah.
doesn't work, I'm sorry, guys. Everyone should go check this out and back it anyway. I've seen this earlier, but I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
All right, is the
I
sound coming
hear
through?
nothing. I wonder if since I'm, actually in the Streamlabs, I wonder if it's different for everyone else.
I'm just gonna play it.
All right. Well, I
All right, that's awesome. And you just mentioned you're gonna like this trailer. Watched it before. You walk us to the first 7 pages. I don't since I can't tell if the sound is working. Do you mind if we just go through the 7 pages with you live here?
I actually had muted myself when I was talking. I muted myself to go check the YouTube to see if it was coming through, and it wasn't coming through. So I just started
Gotcha.
like commentating on the video,
Let's
and I
do it.
was
Let's
muted.
do it here because like the
Cool.
majority, it's an awesome trailer, guys. Go watch. I'm apologizing to you. I'm so sorry it's not coming through,
Oh, it's
but
cool.
the majority of it is wonderful here. And you go through the first 7 pages. You mind if we go ahead and do that with you live in person here?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. Hold on. Let me see. Baki said, I don't know how to say that. The Chimichangas defeated the Spanish, and they're regulars of the other natives, and they belong to a phenotype called Arido American, which is in the northern part of Mexico. Look it up. Awesome. Thanks, Baki.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
that's
don't
cool.
Chichimecas.
Yeah, I haven't heard of the
My
Chichimecas.
furniture is floating now.
Oh, you did an incantation. You didn't know. He
Cole
tricked
says
you.
no sound on the trailer. Thanks. So yeah, you got me, Bucky. All right,
Yeah,
so walk us through here. Man. You got the first 7 pages, which again they look awesome. Walk us through. We can when we can read, but give us
yeah,
give us the true story, the backstory here.
yeah. So, well, we start off with Roy riding through Yuma, Arizona, which um, really interesting town. Everyone should look into that and the Yuma State Territorial Prison. It's really interesting stuff. But he's kind of lamenting his past and what he did, and he knew back then that when he joined the cavalry, it would lead him to hell, but he just thought it'd take longer. And now he's
Nice.
being chased. Yeah, he's now being chased by a Yavapai Indian, which is clearly seeking revenge, and you could tell that by what he's saying here. But Roy has had his last night of vice. It seems that he says basically like, "I'm gonna die," and his hands are shaking. He narrates from the poppy, which is opium, which was a big problem in the Old West. Interestingly, not a lot of people like know about that for some reason. People think it was just like whores and gambling and booze, but it like opium was a big thing.
It was the
That
fentanyl of their day.
yeah, people just like slumped over in the streets, and they're like, oh yeah, it's the poppies over there. The government keeps giving them clean needles to share. But you, you know, so yeah, he's his horse is struck by one of the arrows slung by the Yavin, and Roy shoots the Yavapai's horse in the head, and clearly in the next page this was purposefully done by him. It's a shame to have killed such a to kill a pretty horse. It's a paint horse. I grew
Mhm.
up around horses and herding cattle and stuff, so I don't know how accessible that term is, but it's a paint horse, which is basically just like splotchy. Some of it's white, some of it's brown, whatever, right? Really pretty horses, those ones. And
Looks like it was drawn by Tumblr.
no. um, but yeah, so he's riding away, and the bow snapped as the Yavapai tumbled. So Roy's got away just fine, except that he's now stranded in the desert with a wounded horse, and the Yavapai man is still promises he's not going to escape justice. And Roy thinks, actually, probably not. I will probably die out here. So yeah, that's up to this page. But then his horse dies, and he's left there, kind of wishing that he had been hit instead of his horse, because this is going to be a rough death, you know. Boy, to be stranded in the desert, man, that sucks.
Oh, with a horse with no name.
Yeah,
That's an old song.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, right. Yeah, I got you now.
Coincidentally, about poppies, I think.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I think it's about heroin or something like that.
Poppy's no bueno. They had opium dens back in the Old West, like all over the place.
How come no one's posting that on X and saying "return with a V"?
Yeah, return with what? Sorry,
a V. That's that joke. Like the pagan guys are spell return with a V. They post like the Greek antiquity stuff or whatever. And it's like return. It's like no one's posting like opium dens and saying return.
Yeah, we need those back.
That's what we're missing.
Can't we get those back? You know,
look what they took from you, and it's just a bunch of guys passed out in an Oriental opium den.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It was brought over from China. I think it's really interesting, but
now it's brought in from the Middle East by us.
Yeah, huh? We're bringing everything in. But
I'm sorry to interrupt, man.
No, it's cool, man. I just really find the history really interesting.
Yeah,
I did a lot of research in it, but the opium dens were awful, man. And I don't know if you know about like the coke. Do you know about the coke?
What about it?
Oh, you don't know about the coke. So the cocaine, man, they had it in everything. Cocaine cures, man, and
nice.
They had it for babies. Yeah, they had it for babies to like.
What was the autism rate for those babies?
Oh man, it's probably low, man.
That's what we're missing is the cocaine.
Cocaine instead of Tylenol. That's the problem.
Let's get RFK on this now. Cole, call him up.
At RFK, bring back opium dens and cocaine cures.
Man, I just saw your message on Twitter. All he said was, "Oh no."
Yeah.
That tells me nothing.
You had left. I thought he might not even get this message.
That's me on that horse.
Yeah. Back to I guess this page, but then we moved to a totally different location, which is Claystown, which is another made up. That's made up. So I made up the Yazito tribe, and I made up Claystown, and they're really connected. So like one wouldn't exist without the other, I guess, or one would still exist without the other. Anyways, so we come here, and there's the marshal Henry is, talking to a prisoner who's being stupid and wants to get out, and he's like, "You're not getting out," and he keeps just like. Who's that letter from? Is it from he says a shady lady, which means whore. He's like, is that from a whore? And he's like, no, it's my sister, dude. It's like, oh, is she hot? Basically, he's like, dude, you're gonna, if you say one more word, you're not getting out when you're supposed to get out. You're staying in there for longer. And he shuts up. But then he hears a shouting outside, and he runs out, and the prisoner's like, I can help you, man, let me out. And he runs out, and this kid Trip is hanging from a high up balcony, and his sister and his friend are down there, like, just, oh, what are we gonna do, kind of a thing. Yeah. And then basically, long story short, he gets him down from there, and she's super grateful and gets mad at him as well. And also Henry says a line here about like the paper not thinking that he's a godsend, right? So obviously the paper is kind of critical of him. And then
Right here.
yeah, and then there's this kid watching, this teenager watching from a distance as they kind of leave. She sends him away. And then we kind of lead into the next page. Like, I find this really important that everything feels like my dogs are barking.
Everything feels like that.
Yeah, everything feels like that. Can you hear them?
Yes. Just don't shock collar them like Hassan.
No, I just throw them over the fence.
There you go.
No, I'm just
they're not distracting. It's all right.
okay. Yeah, I just told them to shut up. I didn't shock collar them though, but that's only because I don't have the money to have a shock collar.
We can't all be champagne socialists.
Yeah. But I heard a funny thing about not to get super political, but if anyone's interested, AOC makes like 82% profit margins on these shirts that she sells that says tax the rich. And Kevin O'Leary said inside every socialist is a capitalist just trying to get out.
Man, you're gonna like mute, and we're gonna hear like screams, and you're gonna like be eaten by your dogs on stream.
I'm gonna think I'm muted, and I'm gonna be yelling cuss words at them.
You know what? That's it. My career's over.
I hate them so bad. Right now, I love them, but right now I'm very upset at them. But yeah, so this page, he's having a really tough time in the desert, and obviously the heat is rough, but like he's citing his withdrawals as being worse.
Yeah.
Also, to anyone who's like, why does he have his clothes on in the heat? It's like, that's the smart thing to do, actually. So like, that's what you should do. So he kind of resigns to his fate, first off lamenting the path that he's taken, citing sin led to vice, and sin led to guilt, and guilt led to sin something.
Yeah, let me read it, because that's a really good line. Here it is.
Appreciate it.
Lack of hobbies will kill my sweat's more opium than salt. That's a great line too. I'd curse God for this, but I led myself here. Guilt followed sin, vice followed guilt. Now it's finally caught up to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks. Yeah, a lot of work goes into the writing I do.
You've got to live up to it, man, especially for westerns. Westerns are notorious for having amazing lines.
Right. Yeah. Good writing in a lot of westerns. I think they were so dominant for so long, and the ones that are still quoted and around just had really good writing. And I mean, Unforgiven came at the end. It came in the 90s. Doesn't count, but it's an amazing film. Young Guns too.
Tombstone was in the 90s. It was fantastic.
I love Tombstone.
Yeah.
I love using GIFs from Tombstone.
Yep.
Yeah, especially when someone's like, "Hey, I backed your campaign," be like, it's like, thanks, with Doc Holliday or something.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Your Huckleberry. So someone did that actually. I said, his name is Kirk Spencer. I said, "Hey guys, we are 23 away from being backed. Who's gonna do it?" And this guy, Kirk Spencer, replied with the GIF, "I'm your Huckleberry," and he went and backed it. So yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, I love westerns, and I kind of grew up on them. Like I said, I grew up like literally like ranching for a certain portion of my young life, and they love westerns. Yeah, my dad and it was my stepmom's family. They were the ranchers, and they absolutely loved old westerns and stuff. But yeah, so Roy knows that he's not going to escape, and God's going to give him his punishment. But then someone walks up at the end, on a horse, rides up on a horse. And is that a good guy or a bad guy? We don't know. And we come back here where Henry, the marshal, is now clearly exchanging money with this teenage boy who is watching them from a distance, saying, and he says that he needed a distraction. Basically, that's why the kid was up there on the ledge.
Yeah.
Was to provide this distraction. And he's got something in his bag. What is it? I don't know. Well, you have to read it to find out. But I really like this line here where Jacob, the boy, he walks away and he says, "Thanks, lawman." ... bolded lawman, like sarcastically. I just like that. But then
you got thought bubbles. That's
Yeah.
a rarity, man. That's a rarity in comics.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got 2 characters with narration boxes, and this is the only time that it was necessary for me to be inside his head in this issue. So I thought, well, I'm not having a third narration box color or whatever, or distinction, just to be in his head for these 3 lines, you know? So I just did thought bubbles. I like thought bubbles. Hopefully it's not distracting. I
think it looks great.
Thanks. Yeah, I wanted to, because I did the lettering on this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did the letter. It's a custom font that I did from scratch, which was tough.
Great, man. You fit them in. You fitted them into the bubbles much better than most people do, especially digitally.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the kerning, which is like the space between the letters, man, that takes days. That took me days. That took me like 3 days of like coming home from work and just working on kerning until I went to bed. 3 days, but it's worth it. I wanted my own font. I thought, man, I want it to be gritty. I want it to be familiar. Man, I don't want it to be like Comic Sans or Anime Ace. I don't want it to be just one of the generic ones. So I made one. And do I regret it? No, because I won't ever have to do it again for all 64 issues. I've got it done. Don't have to do it anymore. But anyway, yeah. So Henry notices someone's been watching him, and he knows that this person has a loud voice. You could assume maybe, well, he's had some problems with the paper, and who would have a loud voice? I don't know. Anyway, so he goes inside, and the prisoner that was like begging to be let out is now asking him what's going on, what's got him all fired up, and he says, "You don't got to know what's got me fired up." And he puts the bag that he got of stuff from the teenager in a drawer, and in the drawer is the keys, and he pulls them out, says, "I needed to know if you were serious when you said you could help me." So looks like he's gonna let him out, I would guess. I don't know, but
man, what impresses me, and when I read this initially, and I wanted you to be able to narrate it, go through it first before I commented on the story, really, is that this is written very much like a Western. And that I know that's, how obvious, but it's like, no, like a Western, especially a really well written one, starts off like this, where you've set up multiple plots and multiple characters and multifaceted each of these characters.
Thank you. I appreciate that. There's a lot of work that goes into that. I explained the the story structure and the character cores, and how everyone has different combinations of lies and truths as far as fear and hope is concerned. But yeah, so that you say that, thank you. I appreciate it. A lot of work went into it to make that come through. I'm glad it came through. There's 35 characters in this whole series that all have arcs and like character cores. So like, multi-layered characters, and we deal with 9 at a time, and there's a lot going on in this first issue. So these first 7 didn't feel bombarded. I was worried about that.
I gotta ask you, man, what is your like history of like reading comics? Like what got you into it? Because you clearly know the story structure. Like this is kind of written. This is written how like a comic should be written. This is structured very well.
So I grew up in a town that is hour away or more from any comic book store, and they were always this like fantastical thing to me. My grandpa would talk about them, about um, they'd pass them all, they'd all pass them around. It's like you buy this one, I'll buy next month, and we'll pass them around to each other, and they get reread, and then when everyone read it, they put it on the wall and throw darts at it. Um, and my stepdad, his dad had a collection of comics, and I wasn't like really allowed to like go through and read them because they're like an old collection.
Mm-hmm.
But so they were always this kind of like fantastical, like like talisman almost, Um, but when I was 13, I got my grandpa to take me on a long drive to go to a comic book store, and I didn't know what different issues were, I didn't know how to put them together. So I just got some random stuff. And then I got home and realized, oh, I don't have a complete story here. I've got some World War Hulk, some Red Hulk, but this isn't working. There's missing issues here. I don't know what's happening.
Am I schizophrenic or
My
what?
schizophrenic. Yeah. So I didn't know what was going on really. But I learned about issues and, all of that stuff. And it's still hard to get anyone to go out with me to the comic book store. So the comic book store, like, also was this whole, like I never got to go. It was like holy grail. I don't understand them still. I don't really understand the dynamic of a comic book store because I just like had to go online and my comic shop. And so I would just get like really cheap comic books from like the 90s, 80s and 90s that were like 90 cents a piece so that I could put together like a whole arc, like a long arc. So like I got Iron Man, Sean Chen. I forget who was writing, but I remember the artist's name, Sean Chen. And I got that whole series. It's like 96 issues or something like that. I read it all.
Nice.
So I would just get stuff like that, like longer, cheaper ones. But I wasn't that long before like I had my own money. And then so I would just get like subscriptions to the newer stuff. And I wouldn't read any of it except for Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's Batman. Like all the other stuff was like, I'm collecting these because I didn't care about reading them. They just weren't up to par with the stuff I had read. Like,
yeah.
I wish I was reading Absolute Batman. But so I have a whole bunch of those comics still. But I gave like a lot of my comics to a friend's, a work colleague, his stepson. And I've said it before on stream, but like he would take them and cut them up and hang them up on the wall after he read them. It's like, I like this panel. Look, cut it up and pin it on the wall. It's like, oh, that hurt my heart. But yeah, so as far as story structure though, like I didn't get it from comics necessarily. I did read a lot of comics. It was like I never got any of the cool like team up stuff. Like I was never like reading all of the stuff and then oh look, now it's the team. Like I was never that deep because I just didn't have the means to be. But yeah, I just like you can notice when something's up to par structurally in comics or in movies, TV. It's the same structure. It's story,
Yeah.
So as far as structure, like it's not just that I got it from comics. I got it from just good storytellers. So.
Well, I think that's a necessity, man. I think especially the multimedia view of it, like seeing how story plays out in movies and TV and comics and novels helps you get a better view of it instead of just maybe learning one way to do things. And I've said this before, but like the greats, especially in each medium, were usually inspired by other mediums. Like the people who created comic books, usually like the OGs like Jack Kirby and Stan Lee and those guys, and I'd say even later dudes like Miller and Moore, they weren't just reading comics. They probably weren't reading maybe 25-35% input of comics. They were reading novels. They were watching films. They were engaging. They weren't putting it on a pedestal of like I learned to do it by doing this. They just knew how stories worked. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, it makes total sense. A story's a story, like whatever medium. I mean, it can be more or less impactful, maybe, or impactful in different ways. Like obviously, visual, like movies, like boy, like that's accessible. And with music, like comic books don't have music, and music can really, like really, turn up the dial on impact.
Mm-hmm.
So like you have stories are the same, but you have different tools to create immersion and impact. That's really what I think. That's what the different mediums do. It's just different tools, but
I
stories are
agree.
the same.
Well, but I really think you're onto something. And this is me jumping off a tangent real quick, but this is what I love most about everything is that the idea of you were talking about basically story being the narrative and story being divine and fighting demons, and this idea of them being like living, breathing things no matter what medium they're in. I really think you should explore that, man. Because if you don't, then like I will, and I'll consistently annoy you for like information on your thoughts on it. And I've said this to guests before, like that are good writers, but I would say it again, like uh, stuff like audio dramas are really kind of picking up now on every medium. Like, have you considered
Yeah.
doing something like that?
Long time ago, like I said, I jumped around a lot. I was getting ads for an app that was basically that. And I was like, this is trash. Like, this is obviously like trash. It's AI written. It's awful. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just tugging on like basic, like, oh, this guy, like, just kind of like, hey, man, we read every anime and trained an AI on it. And this is
Mm-hmm.
what it spit out. Like, that's totally what it is. But I don't know. I've thought about it a little bit. You can go into different mediums and newer mediums and stuff like that. But yeah, no, not. I mean, not seriously have I thought about it. But I will say I've thought about AI pretty seriously, and I think that what the devil created for evil, that God will use it for good. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, like AI is creating story. Like you've probably seen that. Like it creates TV shows based on
Yeah.
prompts, and it's like, man, like I know so much about like the math of storytelling that like, man, I could just train an AI and like it could spit out way better stuff than what these AIs are spitting out. But
Mm-hmm.
I fear that at the same time because someone could hijack that. The devil could hijack that because it's like sure, you understand the math, but you could flip that on its head. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And now it's doing the opposite of fighting demons. Now it's like spawning them and feeding them. Um, so, I really think that AI is kind of like AI. I feel like is like could become a demon incarnate. You know?
Oh yeah, and that's a idea that's been even more popularized recently with that Tucker Carlson interview recently with the guy talking about Nick Land, because Nick Land is this kind of weird academic philosopher, sci-fi fiction writer
Mm-hmm.
dude
The
that kind of,
Book of Enoch and everything.
yeah, he kind of posed that idea like that demonic forces maybe from the future or have like seeded
Yeah,
mankind with the knowledge to create the AI to build themselves. And I'm probably butchering his philosophy, but he probably butchered it himself first by writing that.
yeah. Well, I'll say the Book of Enoch is
Yep.
it's non-canon. It's non-canon for good reason. There's the Goetia you may have heard of,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Keys
yeah,
of Solomon. Those were written by people and then claimed that it was written by Solomon.
yeah.
And so people are getting some inside baseball real quick. There's this thing called the Ring of Solomon in Goetia, and it's basically this ring was given to Solomon by God, says this text, and it was to basically trap demons and take control of them. And it he used it to build a temple. He enslaved demons to create a temple. And at the end of the story, he creates a temple for a different god because he wanted to marry a woman. And her father said, "You can marry her if you build a temple to my god."
Mm-hmm.
And in Roy Beckwith, the Ring of Solomon is real.
Oh, nice.
Um,
So you're
but
going like full like Jonah Hex type weird West Wild stuff here.
oh yeah,
Nice.
people cite The Sixth Gun. I never
Nice.
read it, but yeah, it's like super occult, you could say. But yeah, so different people are after this thing, but I have my own twist on it. Like, I don't want to not too much about it because it's a twist, but like that text was not written like by Solomon. It was a
Yeah.
lie. And so it's meant to trick people. And I think that's what the Book of Enoch is.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't read it yet. It's literally sitting in front of me. Like, I have it right here in front of me, like sitting on my desk. I haven't read all of it, but I do think that it is a lie because it was written by different authors, like multiple authors, and then attributed to Enoch. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not, and it doesn't align with the Bible. They say, I don't know all the details yet, but it's like, I don't want people to take these like tertiary books that weren't written by the people that they even claim to be written by and then think that it's like true, But I do believe like demons are talked about in the New Testament a lot, and in the Old Testament, like not at all. So like, what's bridging that gap? So maybe it is the Book of Enoch, and it's like maybe it's been
Yeah, I
lied
know.
about. I don't know.
I know. Peter and Jude both quote the Book of Enoch, but
It's not
it
like
wasn't.
quotes though,
Yeah,
it's more like similar lines, like
yeah,
like they could have taken from the same culture almost.
yeah. It's like it was an oral tradition, part of that was passed down. Like, yeah, Enoch totally did not write this book.
Oh, 100%. It seems like it's
Yeah,
written by different people.
yeah.
Um, but it is interesting that they like demons want to be made flesh, but actually I don't think that I don't think that that's the case. I think that they they are spiritual, and they always were, and they always will be. But like, the only way they wouldn't be is if people did something about, like, get like an AI might do that. But I don't think that I think demons are much more happy, like, because they want chaos and destruction. But I think really what they want is like souls, right? So it's like, if AI was a demon and had a demon body, it's like, what's it doing? Killing people or something? It's like, that's not doing anything good. That's not for them. Like, it's not taking anyone's soul. Like, it's just killing people, But
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're killing good people, and then they can take the bad the other people on the fence they can get, you know what I mean, or whatever. But it's like, I don't know.
Is this going to be exploited in Roy Beckwith at all? This is really
There's
cool stuff you're spouting out.
there's a demon in Roy Beckwith or two.
Nice.
But yeah, and there's like skinwalkers at one point.
You got any Native
Um,
American kind of folklore in there as well?
oh yeah, that's skinwalkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, skinwalkers.
Those are the dudes that
Skinwalkers
like,
are
they like
interesting.
kill an animal, skin it, and then they could become it. Something like that. Wasn't that it?
No, so like, yo, dude, you're about to get some chills. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, so there's this kid back in the frontier, and this is a true story. And he's in his house, and there's a knock on the door, and it's his dad. Hey, son, let me in. Let me in. And he's like, what? He's like, Dad? He's like, yeah, son, hurry up and let me in. I gotta, you gotta let me in. He's like, but you're asleep in the back room. Yeah. No, dude, I have chills
Yeah,
really bad.
yeah.
So
And you're like, "No, I'm good."
I'm good. I yeah, so like those are the stories that got out about the
Yeah,
skinwalkers because the ones who answered the door are dead.
yeah.
So just saying. But
That's a vampire trope as well, that they can't enter your house unless invited or welcomed in.
I don't know if that's necessarily, maybe that's what that was, or maybe the door was just locked. I don't know. But
No, I'm saying that
yeah, it's a
idea
trope.
seems to enter in a lot of folklore. Like this
Yeah.
evil thing can't come in unless it's invited.
Well, like there's this line from it's in the Cain and Abel story where
Yes, yeah,
yeah, evil came knocking and he opened the door and let it in.
yeah. God says something like, "The devil or the enemy or the evil stands by your door like a hungry animal," something like that. Yeah,
Like a feral, no, like a cat in heat is like a
yeah,
more
yeah, yeah,
direct
yeah. That's it.
translation. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it,
That's
but yeah,
cool.
so that's interesting. Yeah, you have to let it in, which is really, yeah, that is a trope with vampires. But anyway, so there's this other story I'd like to tell, and I don't know how long you're trying to go, but I'm having a good time. Um, but this one's quick. So this is a story from a friend. He had, because he served a mission. So because I'm in Utah, so like I know a lot of like I have a lot of Mormon friends. I'm not
Hmm.
Mormon myself, but I have a lot of Mormon friends, and they here's the story of these two missionaries, and they were in I can't remember what, but they were on a reservation or near a reservation. I can't remember what tribe, but it doesn't matter. Um, and they have a curfew, it's a strict curfew, and they're in their apartment or where they were staying, and it's like 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and there's a knock at the door, and it's their mission president. Like, hey guys, hurry up, you got to let me in. And they had a weird feeling, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, nah. And so they called their mission president, and he said, that's not me.
That's not me.
Whatever that is not me. Do not let it in.
Yeah,
I have chills so bad right now.
yeah.
Like this gets me, and I have to write an arc about this. 8 issues. Like I'm dying.
What's
Um, but
what
yeah,
a more hopeful version of that is I had some friends that did missions, and I mean I was raised Pentecostal, so we can talk theology later.
yeah,
But, um because I got some interesting stories. But now this is a more hopeful one. Like we got the camp that these guys were doing. I think it was in Africa
yeah.
at the time, the African jungle. And the people they were with, like the tribesmen, the locals, were like, yeah, like you got to be inside certain times because our enemies, like the people that hate us, the non-Christians, like the pagans, they'll come on these hilltops, and if they catch you on the hilltops, they'll shoot you, they'll kill you. And so they say, yeah, we could see them at night. Like we go inside, and at night we could see like their lights, and they'd be on the hilltop. And we just started thinking, we started questioning, like, why don't they, if they want us dead, why don't they come to the camp? And eventually, like one day, somehow they ran into these guys. While they got one of the quote unquote bad guys, one of the pagan guys got injured, and the Christians brought him into the camp to treat him. I mean, you love your enemies, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know if he got shot in some kind of bush war or whatever, but anyway, they brought him in, and they helped him out and showed him love, and eventually they asked him, hey, how come you guys don't ever come into the camp? Why don't you just, if you want us dead, why don't you come in here? And he said, oh, well, we don't come in because of the flaming giants you guys have. He's like,
Oh yeah,
what are you
I
talking about? He's like, yeah, there's these guys these like flaming towers that just stand here every night at the camp. Like we can't go into the camp without you. Like we can't, we're not
I've
in.
heard something similar to that.
Yeah. Like it's
Yeah,
those kind of stories pop up, and it's really weird.
yeah, that is really weird. There, yeah, it's like a similar story. Maybe it's the same story. I don't know, but it's like there's this family was in their hut or something, and they prayed to God when these like evil people were coming to get them, like a different tribe or something,
Mm-hmm.
or tribe. Like I don't, they must have not been like a tribe because they're praying to God, but
Yeah.
And then basically the same thing. They're like, why didn't you come inside and kill us? Like you had the men, we were defenseless. Why didn't you come in and kill us? And he said, well, because you had all the guards around your
Oh
house.
wow.
And they're like, what? We didn't. Yeah, that's wild, dude. That's wild. But
Let me go through some of this real quick. I don't want people to not know. If you're
yeah,
watching, you
I
should
don't mind.
already be on here backing it because it's awesome. So you've got all the five covers here for $55, which is fantastic. It's a fantastic price, dude.
Yeah, I try to price it fair. I mean, I see people pricing too high or pricing too low, and I'm just trying to strike a balance because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of money went into it, so like trying to recoup some of that, trying to keep doing this. There's 64 issues I'm trying to do. But also, yeah, I don't want it to be, I'm not just trying to, I'm not a FinDom. I'm not just trying to take everyone's money as much as I can.
$5 digital, insane price. Also, $10 issue one cover, a physical copy, insane. $10, man. And I 100% think that's fair price. 28 pages, $10. Like I think that shows some wherewithal on your part because a lot of people would have priced that for like $15 or something ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, you can pay that much if you want one of the special covers that cost extra money for me. So, that's why those are priced higher, obviously. So.
Oh yeah, well, and this is a rare campaign where every cover looks good.
Oh, awesome! Thank you. Yeah.
I particularly like this one. I think this is my favorite. This one and this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not allowed to pick a favorite, but I do like. I think I like them for different reasons. Like this one right here that you're looking at, like foreshadowing that you won't understand for a while, but like, it really has something to do with the story. It's not just cool, if you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't just look good. Like the painting one, it's just like four characters on there. It looks cool. Like it's really well done, but there's no like added insight or anything into what's in the book, except that it's this cool Western, kind of a thing.
Now, this is cool. I haven't seen anyone do this before. A standard 8-issue subscription. So they're basically buying the first 8 issues.
Yeah, we've had a few people back that. Actually, I didn't expect anyone to, but I thought I'll throw it out there because we have a plan. We're doing it.
That's bold, man. That's cool.
Well, thank you. People call it bold. People call it ambitious. I call it hopeful, maybe stupid.
No, it just requires like planning on your part, but you're a competent person. Like I wouldn't trust this with other people, unless I like yourself, like how you've presented this campaign professionally.
I appreciate
That's
that.
a cool idea. That's a really cool idea. So what's the difference between this and the premium 8-issue subscription?
The premium would get you every variant cover that we do for all 8.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So that's what, 40 books?
Yeah. Assuming we do 5, which I think we're going to try to do 5 on all of them. We'll either do 5 on all of them, or we'll do 5 on like the starts and ends of arcs. So issue 1 and issue 8, and then 3 or 4, 2 to 4, I guess, on the in between ones, depending. But
man, that's a cool idea. That actually might be like a way of thinking to actually. Oh wow! Like if you could build that's almost a way to like build a strong fan base almost instantly because people are invested.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I just knew that there were people who knew that it was a big plan and really liked the series and liked the stuff that I was putting out, and I'm super grateful to all those guys. There are 3 people did it, and man, that shows some like they have faith. And I try to give reason to have faith. I'm not just like, hey, believe in me because you should, like I put
you're not a cult leader.
Yeah, I put in a lot of work into planning it. Like if you don't scroll up, but if you were at the top of the campaign, there's a cover for issue 8. and it says it underneath, like, this is the cover for issue 8. Spoiler alert, this is the cover for issue 8.
Oh, wow, this one.
Yeah, that one.
Dang, that's a good cover, man. So
I
how long
love
have you been planning this?
Bro, that's a weird question. It's a weird question to answer. It's not a weird question. It's a basic question. But so this character, Roy Beckwith, I had a dream about him when I was 18. So 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And wrote features with him, and just knew this isn't gonna, no one's picking this up. Like, he travels to, he literally goes on an oceanic journey in the Pacific. Like, he literally like it's a little bit of spoilers, but I guess it's not like, what's that gonna really spoil? Nothing. Eventually he leaves the, because it's the cursed continent, and I don't know if you know, but like, it was one continent until the Panama Canal. So
yeah,
right now this is the cursed continent, is North and South America. But anyway, he ends up going to South America, like all this stuff, and on the ocean it's like Pirates of the Caribbean like scale production that it would be, and no one's gonna pick that up. So, and my structure evolves, and as I already explained, like, I used to not even have hope in my character cores, and now I do, and I think that's a breakthrough. I think a lot of writers need that. A lot of writers like just go with the general advice, which doesn't really include hope. It includes something called desire, but it's not really tied to trauma. It's just some amorphous thing. Like, there's so much amorphous writing advice that's not helpful. And I just did my best to solidify that. And Roy Beckwith, kind of the feature that I wrote, that's the second half of this story. And that 2.5 years ago, I started wanting to do it as a comic book series. And so, yeah, that long, I guess. 10 years kind of developing the character and the story, but as a comic book, 2 years or 2.5 years or so.
Man, that's cool. That's really cool. This is a passion project, and like, that's what I dig in art. Like, I'm really tired of cynical cash grabs. I'm tired of seeing slop, my dude. I want to see like full balls to the wall, crazy stuff like this, where like people are like already buying like the first 8 issues.
Yeah, I was surprised when the first person did it. I was like, oh no shit. Like, I guess it was a good idea. Like, and people listen to this podcast or they want the inside baseball, so I'll throw it out. But there's this thing called a price anchor, where it's like, you have a menu, right? And the most expensive thing on your menu is like so expensive, like you expect no one to get it. And that just makes everything else seem cheaper by comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically why I did it. Like, I thought, no one's going to want to do this, but maybe it'll make them feel better about buying issue 1,
Yeah.
And then 3 people actually bought it, which is like,
you're like, fools.
Big. Fools. Issue 2. No, I'm just kidding. Rug pull. I'm just kidding, guys. No, obviously, yeah, I really care about this. It's we were gonna, because my brother's invested monetarily in it, and we were gonna do the first 4 issues before we even did a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that's just scary, It's like, that's a lot more money. Obviously, that's 4 times the amount of money. Not to get into how much I spent, but obviously, if you do 4 issues instead of 1, it's 4 times as much. So I don't think that's giving away anything. But it's we were going to do that, but we thought, well, let's do campaigns leading up to it. It'll make it feel less scary to us, Plus, we'll now have a base of people when we do get to issue 4, which is like the end of the arcs are complicated. So there's the big arc, there's 2 arcs that divide that, and then 4 arcs that divide each of those, and then 2 arcs that divide each of those. So like issue 4 is the end of one of those smaller arcs, and then each issue is its own arc. But yeah,
I
so
gotcha.
issue 4 is like the big campaign. That's the one that we need to like recoup a lot on. This one is like, let's recoup some, like as much as we can, because we're going to do it anyway. But it's like, let's just recoup some, and then we'll feel better about it. I'm going to do it anyway, but make my brother feel better to do it.
Well, that's the stand we took too. Is like whatever crowdfunding does or doesn't do for us, we're doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you have to do, man. I think like this idea of chasing the algorithm of chasing trends, that's lame to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
do something cool and
You're
like
just going to do boob books then.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Just
well,
do that.
it always comes back to that. It's circular. I'm not gonna make this about that anymore. Like early bird special, all 5 covers. Guys, you can get
Cool.
all 5
Mhm.
covers, 28 pages of all 5
Oh,
covers.
early bird special should be gone.
Oh well, I'm gonna stop talking about it.
Well, let scroll down to it. Let me see that. If it's up, go get it. That's yeah. It's not purchasable.
Okay,
Yeah. It's
that
faded
was a
out
great
on the
deal.
button. Yeah.
This is,
I mean, not that many people bought it, and I'll be real. Like all the people who bought it were people that were my family.
nice.
Most of this campaign is not people I personally know, really, which
Yeah,
I'm really proud of. I didn't want it to be that, but yeah, everyone who got the early bird special, like even one guy literally got the $55 one while the early bird special was available. It's like,
that's
what do I
awesome.
do? What do I do here? Do I tell him? Like, do I tell him that he could have got $10 off? Or
Do I
I don't
be a
know.
good person?
Yeah. Do I be a good person? But I really had no way of contacting him because I didn't know who it was. Like, I mean, obviously I know like I have his Kickstarter information, but as far as I know, I can't directly message him on Kickstarter, and I didn't know like who he was if he was from Twitter or something. So like, I didn't, sorry, dude. If you want $10, I'll give you $10 if you're listening. But
Man,
so,
I've had a
yeah,
blast, dude. I'm really glad that I think you DM'd me out of nowhere when I was like in a Twitter spat with someone. You were like, "Man, just ignore that dude. He sucks." And like,
yeah,
that's how I met you. And then I was like, "All right, well." Then I followed you, and I was like, "This guy posts cool stuff." And then we scheduled, and then seeing you on Lucid, I was like, "Man, this is a smart guy that actually knows how to write." And I'm gonna be back in this, and everybody should like this is what people claim to be into is comics, and this looks solid. You gave us 7 pages of actual story to look at, read. You can tell the writing's good, the writing's solid. You've got 64 issues lined out. I don't.
yeah.
This should have way more views and way more like money on it than it does. Have you considered putting boobs on the cover?
I've considered. I'm not. No, I'm a butt guy, so I've considered putting a butt on the cover.
you should you should
No,
you should do it. It should be Roy's like a Bruce Springsteen, like the Born in the USA cover. Just his jeans.
no, that'd be cool. But
Well, Nick, Nick, it's been a
that'd
blast with
attract more. So
I
yeah,
we do all kinds of stuff on here. We do more than comics. Like next week we're talking actually some of that occult and Nick Land bizarro kind of Enochian stuff next week with some other guys. I'd love to have you on for different stuff, man. Like I'm trying to kind of just build a cool circle of people that can talk about things more than just drama.
yeah, I'd be super interested. Just let me know, man, because this is stuff I'm really interested in, and most people aren't interested in it. So uh, demonology and all of that stuff is really interesting to me. So
All right, man. Well, I gotta go. I gotta go take care of the babies. But thanks a lot for coming on, man. Everyone, go back Roy Beckwith and the Cursed Continent issue 1 right now. I'm going to share it out again this week. I'm gonna try to share it out as much as I can the rest of the week, and or actually I'll do all 15 days and just try to get you as much much cash as possible, dude.
Dang, dude, I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you bringing me on. This has been really fun. Definitely didn't expect to go into some of these topics until today, obviously, when I messaged you. Hey, should we talk about demons and stuff?
Anything, man. I'm down to talk anything, anytime. It's so much
Cool.
better to me than talking about whatever, how much Daredevil sucks now.
Yeah, which I agree, but you know, how much is to be gained? Everyone else is already saying it. So cool.
Have
Man.
a good night, everybody. See you, dude.
Bye, everyone.